Not yet.
Wait, yes, there we go. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Side Seat Podcast, episode 10. I'm super fucking excited today, guys. I'm your host, Victor Martinez. With us, as always, is Eric Nesbitt, a.k.a. Nez for short, and the Pride of Barstow, a.k.a. Jake Quake, over here, has returned, but again, Mr. Thompson has said he's never left, but we'll get to that in a second. We also have Matt Wilkins returning to join us here tonight, so thank you, Matt. Yep. And finally, I am super stoked to have Dr. Brother Greg Thompson on the show.
That guy sucks.
Well, hey, man, thanks for showing up finally, man. 10 episodes in, we got you here.
I'd have done it every one of them if I could have.
Awesome, man. Well, thank you.
I'm just a fucking nerd.
Yeah, man. We're that's what we love, man.
I didn't get my own post when I was coming on, but that's okay.
Yeah, you did. I think we did.
No, you totally didn't, but it's okay.
Matt's trying to compare dicks with me.
Yeah, okay. Let's not do that because you're going to lose.
Isn't that what Tim Krups does?
We'll talk about Kerry King later.
Yeah, mate.
How many records have you put out?
Exactly.
How many tours have you been on?
All I'm going to do this show is Tim Krups.
UK 1, USA 0.
Fuck you.
That's exactly how he sounds, too. But yes, thank you guys for joining us for episode 10. We are here tonight in the Hodge Park Studios. 5 guys surrounding an iPhone, just talking about music and having a good time. Tonight's episode, like I said, Greg, I'm glad you're here. It's been a long time coming, and I'm just ready to pick your brain. So, but we'll get to you in a sec. But first, let's talk some news, guys. Looks like Motorhead's got a new album, Bad Magic, coming out. How do you guys feel about that?
Love Motorhead.
Mm-hmm. I'm just glad Lemmy's healthy.
Yeah.
The cool thing about Motorhead is they haven't fallen into the AC/DC Aerosmith vibe of making every album sound exactly the same.
Right.
AC/DC died when Bon Scott died. I still don't like the new singer.
30 years in. Hate that guy.
And the thing
Still don't like the new singer.
Yeah, the thing with the Motorhead, they're going to be hitting up Riot Fest soon, this summer or fall, whatever, because it's in September. What do you think, Greg? Do you think they should move that? Because I had a discussion with a couple people that think they should move the festival to like another
I heard that they are going to move it because they burn out their welcome with Humboldt Park.
I'm not like weather-wise, but yeah, they are moving it to Douglas Park in Chicago, so that'll be...
They should move it to Douglas Park in Rock Island.
That'd be awesome.
Had to go over like a shit ton of bricks.
Yeah, we should probably
because they wore out their welcome because they fucking destroyed the place.
Yeah.
Well, what do you expect? I mean, honestly, when you have a show like that caliber of musical acts, and then you put in Mother Nature, going to piss on everything.
And
all the
that
time.
many people.
And that many people. What do you expect? Do you expect that it's going to be pristine?
Yeah, I mean, you can't tell me that when they do Taste of Chicago and Grant Park that it turns out much better.
Look what the hippies did at Woodstock.
Yep.
The original Woodstock, not that farce that came out 20 years ago or whatever.
Yeah.
But look at the original Woodstock. They tore that place up, and those are hippies. Right. So come on. I mean,
yeah.
And the Puerto Ricans got all up in arms about that, but fuck the Puerto Ricans.
Well, which Woodstock did they do where they tried to do
That
it
is like total...
When they tried to do it on an airplane hangar, old airplane hangar. They tried to do it on a tarmac.
Yes!
I think that was the 99 one.
It was a
because they only done 2.
They did one in, was it 93?
Oh, no, 94 and 99.
99 where they tried to do it on an airplane hangar, right? Where they tried to do the Woodstock, where it was on concrete, and people were getting fried. I mean, there was
and the water was like $8 a bottle, and
right.
That's when they started.
The whole evolution, though, of Riot Fest, when they first started doing it, I was like, this is fucking farcical.
Yeah, because there was just one show, like one venue.
Yeah, it was at the Congress all day.
Yeah,
it was a one-day thing, and it was the Congress Theater all day. It was a one-day thing. It lasted all fucking day. And I went to that the year that Naked Ray Gun was a headliner.
Okay.
And I had to do it because it was Naked Ray Gun.
Yeah.
And I went the next year, or was it 2 years later, Dropkick Murphys were on it, Social Distortion was on it, but it was a 2-day thing.
Yeah.
And that fucking Misfits, Sam Hain, Danzig fucking buttfuck festival, that was just fucking horrible, and Youth of Today was on it. Who else played? fuck, I can't even remember.
I mean, they've had so many bands.
And then when they went from moving it, you know, they still did it at the Congress, but then it was at the Double Door, it was at Bottom Lounge. They moved it all over the city, and then you had to make people trying to decide, you know, okay, here's the bands I want to see, and how many people were actually lucky enough to have all the bands that they wanted to see for Riot Fest be playing at different times.
Yeah. Right. See that
and getting from venue to venue to venue to venue, and anybody who's been to Chicago knows whether you're taking the train, the bus, or a taxi,
half hour,
you're fucked.
Yep.
You know, you're not going to get there on time.
Yep.
You know, and unless you know the train route to take and you know the bus route to take, you're kind of screwed. So you're going to have to either drive your car and pay, you know, another $20 to park somewhere. You got to pay money to park at the Congress. You got to pay money to park at the Metro. You got to pay money to park at Double Door.
I love the Metro.
You know,
Bottom Lounge, all that stuff. Yep.
Bottom Lounge and Reggie's are probably the only two venues in that city where parking is somewhat decent.
Yeah.
Granted, Reggie's, you're taking a big chance because their neighborhood is shady as shit. But
I knew a shady person that works there.
Parking is okay at Reggie's, and it's great at Bottom Lounge.
So how do you feel about the Foo Fighters doing the Naked Ray Gun and Screeching Weasel with them in Wrigley Field?
I think it's cool because, okay, a lot of people don't like Ben Weasel. Ben Weasel's a dick, I'll admit it. But you know what? The dude's put his time in. And as far as I'm concerned, Naked Ray Gun should be selling out the United Center every other weekend because to me, they created the Chicago sound. You know, granted, people are going to say, you know, well, Screeching Weasel doesn't have the Chicago sound. You know, basically they sound like the Ramones, but...
It's all in there, though.
It's still in there. But, I mean, to me, Naked Ray Gun created the Chicago sound. And it's sad because you can tell that Jeff Pizzotti's health is getting worse and worse and worse. But, I mean, I'll still never, ever forget the first time that I saw Naked Ray Gun, which was in Chicago. It was supposed to be at the Metro. It was Dead Kennedys, Criminally Insane, The Crucifix, and Naked Ray Gun. And I will still never forget, they come out, and it's dark, and there's John Haggerty standing there playing the guitar intro, and the lights are just basically on him, and he's got the patented John Haggerty with the cigarette hanging out of his mouth playing his Stratocaster, and it was just like the lights came on, Pizzotti jumps on the mic, and boom, the place just fucking exploded. And I've probably seen him 30 times since.
Yeah.
I mean,
nothing like that first time.
No, it'll never top that.
Right? I
mean, I look at that lineup that night.
Yeah.
Criminally Insane, Crucifix, Naked Ray Gun, and Dead Kennedys. I mean, shit.
Yep.
that night was nuts.
Well, I'm sure.
It's because I'm old.
I'm sure they're jealous of Jack White getting that Walk of Fame induction there this past week. What do you guys think about Jack White and his little Nashville Walk of Fame induction? I mean,
I think Jack's cool.
I like the music. I like the stuff that he does. I like that he is traditional in a lot of the things that he does. He was one of the first big guys to spearhead a lot of his shit being on vinyl.
Yeah.
When in the vinyl stuff that he offers to people, it's a big thing to find it all together and have it all, and it's like that's cool. I'm sure my 21-year-old daughter thinks it's awesome. Yeah. You know, she's a huge fan of those guys.
He was in a band and didn't kill his wife.
Yeah.
They were in a band together and he didn't kill her. Yeah. Guy's got to be decent in my eyes.
I know you said
I sure tried to kill my wife.
He has a store down in Nashville.
But he's got his own records.
He's got his own.
Yes. But I mean, it's like, I think more of him in the regards as being a businessman more than I do think him as his music, because I loathe the White Stripes.
Do you really?
I think
I like the White Stripes.
The first record was so
I like the
Raconteurs
better, though.
I like the Raconteurs better. The thing with the White Stripes, the thing with Jack White specifically that I like as a musician, as a guitar player, as a study of music, is his ability to take things that people don't necessarily use in the musical genre. It's a two-piece. It's him and Meg. Yeah. That's it. You know, and there was no other. All the other parts and everything, he played himself.
Yeah.
So for me, that's like I'm like, man, this guy's okay. Some of the songs are good. I've got some of it on my iPod, my phone, whatever else.
Yeah.
And then some of it, you're like, well, this is basically trash. You
Right.
know, it just depends.
Yeah.
So that's how I feel about
hit
it.
or miss with a lot of people. Well, you
And he
know,
was in a band with his wife,
And he didn't kill
which
it.
means he has huge balls.
yes. She had huge boobs, by the way. Though, so.
She's fucking batshit crazy.
Yeah,
I mean, they all are, but she's worse.
Speaking of the crazy, the Riot Fest lineup is out. Nez, you're not a fan of it?
I would have to take a look at it again. I have to see it in front of my
Well,
face.
let's see it.
But I just, from what like they've
Yeah.
had in years past,
Yeah.
I mean, there were some things like wow.
Right.
Bob, like Bob Molds and stuff like that.
Yeah,
you
there
were
was
telling me.
right.
Ooh, the last year that I went when the Replacements played, Bob Mould was absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, that was early on that Sunday too.
I
Yes,
think that
it
they're
was
falling into the
wonderful.
same. They're falling into the same thing as a lot of these touring festivals or festivals in general.
Yeah.
Like I was at the first Vans Warped Tour, and when the Vans Warped Tour started, it was all about punk music
Yeah.
and
that
skateboards.
first year of the Warped Tour was all. What show did you go
St.
to?
Louis.
I went to the Rosemont in Chicago.
Okay. And I'm sorry, dude. I hung out with skateboarders. These guys that I had seen. Dwayne Peters was there skating, and I'm like, holy shit, it's Dwayne Peters.
Yeah.
You know, Cavalera. I hung out with these guys.
Yeah.
They were skating. They would skate. They'd come down and they would talk to you. They would give you T-shirts. They would give you stickers. And then the music.
They
Oh my
hung out and
god.
watched bands.
Yeah, and then they would hang out with you and watch the bands.
Yeah.
Then I was at the second year of Ozfest. Ozzy Osbourne's a Tool, but Ozfest was cool back in the day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
That's what I hear.
But now you see these tours, and you look at Warped Tour, and you're like, who are these
dude,
people?
yeah.
You know? And it's like, geez, I just saw this this has never happened to me before in my life. I don't remember what the tour was. I didn't recognize a single band.
Really.
And I'm like, oh
okay,
my God.
Another thing, look, that I've noticed, like within the last couple, 2-3 years with Warped Tour, how many of these bands now are you seeing that you're seeing dudes are like getting busted for doing like shady shit with
Oh,
underage
dude,
girls?
all the
that-
time.
Because that's
Yeah.
all that go to those shows. I was talking, the last time I was here, I was talking about going to see My Chemical Romance with my daughter.
Yep.
I was the oldest guy there, hands down. I'm standing there in my Misfits t-shirt, looking at everybody like, oh my God, I'm the oldest guy here.
Yeah, they're just all like.
And
Every year now, you see before the Warped Tour is going to start, you
Yeah.
see something come out where this guy and this guy in this band is, you know, it's been proven that he's been talking to these underage girls on his
Some
cell
kid-
phone and
some-
getting them to send him nudes.
Yeah.
Some
And-
guy just got busted today. I was reading on
What?
Falling in Reverse. Is that a band?
Yeah.
The lead
Yeah.
singer.
Ronnie
Yes. Yeah.
got caught for what?
I guess he's like him and like, some dudes in the bus like basically gangbanged this chick and they threw
I
her like
need to
literally
read
like
that, 'cause-
literally like threw her out of the bus. It's all over
What?
Facebook.
I gotta
Yeah.
check that out because my buddies are Fallen guys and I've seen them and I've enjoyed their shows because they're part of that Warped Tour nowadays that like they just it's all pop punk, it's all screaming
it's,
shit.
you know, and it's like, I mean, come on. Vans shoes have been around obviously since the
50s,
any of us were cool. You know, we all had checkerboard Vans back in the day. We all had, that. And then when it started, it was this whole traveling caravan of like, let's do this thing. It's outside of everything else. I don't care what they're playing on the radio. Let's do our own thing. Right. And then I can at that show, that was when I saw Fishbone, and D'Angelo from Fishbone started a riot in St. Louis. Everybody talks about Axl Rose starting a riot, but D'Angelo from Fishbone started a riot. The singer, trumpet player guy.
Yeah.
Am I getting his name right?
Angelo Moore.
Angelo Moore.
And he started a riot because he's like, everybody in the back, I want you in the front. And they tore down everything, and everybody rushed up to the front.
Yeah.
But, and so for me, that was like, that's awesome. That's how it's supposed to be.
That first Warped Tour was awesome. I went to that because I wanted to see Civ, I wanted to see Seaweed,
Civ was so good.
and I wanted to see Quicksand.
I went to this,
L7 was on that. Those are the only 4 bands I remember.
Yeah, there was just a post about L7 wasn't there recently?
The only 4 bands I remember
Jennifer
from that.
Buckwaller.
That's right.
Because I know Fishbone was in St. Louis. And I want to say Goldfinger.
I drank and did drugs then, though.
So did I.
People didn't think
I think I saw Fishbone. Oh, no, because the drummer from Goldfinger got arrested for indecent exposure because they had a big toilet on the stage,
Yeah.
and he got up on the toilet and he tucked his penis. And he was dancing. No one ever saw
Oh
dick.
my
It's like
If you're like me, you don't have to talk. They're not going to see anything anyways.
Oh, man.
Oh, that's awesome.
I was married for
come
20 years. I think mine is still there.
Yeah.
But the fact of the matter is, breathe.
You're going to kill me. Wilkins is trying to kill me.
Oh, man. We have the
no.
evidence on the podcast. It's okay.
So yeah, great. Now I'm going to prison again. But no, but that was he tucked it and did a little dance, and the cops busted him as soon as Goldfinger went off the stage.
I'm sure, yeah. I've heard of incidents
So
like that.
but that's how it should be.
But-
That was and then nowadays it's everything. If we can sell a ticket, because parents who have money buy tickets for their children, and that's what it's all about.
I saw a lot of parents. I went to last year's Warped Tour just because my buddy offered, and I was kind
You
of
don't have
bummed
to
out.
make excuses.
No,
It's
no,
okay.
seriously, I was bummed out. I was looking
Cool,
for things
Victor.
to do, so we went to
We'll still be your friend.
Right.
we went to the Tinley Park one, and it was just yes. Oh, come on now. Hey, you guys. Good luck to you guys.
Wait, one thing I will say.
Sure.
Your team's arena at least does play decent music.
Oh, with the Van Halen and all that. They throw a lot of Van Halen. No, that was Winnipeg. Never mind. I don't know why Winnipeg.
No, I heard
But,
Social Distortion a lot in
Yeah.
Anaheim, which was awesome. But,
Oh, yeah, go Hawks.
and I want to say that I absolutely love the song Bro Him. Hate it when I hear it in Anaheim. Makes me want to puke.
But anyways, I went to the Warped Tour, and it's just a lot. I went in there, knowing I fucking hate pop punk. I hate all this stuff. But I actually found a couple decent bands. Terror was there, which surprised the fuck out of me because I didn't even know about it. They're like, yeah, we know this isn't normally our scene, but we want to give those fucks a big shout out for letting us play, and we're just here to fucking show you some new shit, blah blah. Because it was a bunch. The Terror crowd wasn't that bad. I thought it was going to be like a lot smaller than it was, but it was pretty big. But anyways,
And Scott Vogel just kept saying, more stage dives, more stage dives. Sound man, can I get more stage dives in my monitor, please?
exactly. So,
Front and back, side to side, more
Yeah.
stage dives.
and the thing was that they had the surprise guest, and it was a day to remember. And I'm like, what the fuck? Who the fuck is that? I don't even know. For fucking 80%. Yeah,
You're like, I'm surprised I didn't just
exactly.
shit myself.
Yeah.
Who
so-
cares?
So
Sorry.
But anyways, but back to the Riot Fest thing. The thing with Riot Fest is it's giving me a chance to see all these bands that I would never ever have thought to, or people that I would never have ever thought to ever get to see in my life. So it's kind of cool. But this year's lineup, I think off the top of my head, no doubt, Faith No More's some incarnation of them.
It's without Big Jim Martin.
Yeah,
So it's a bastardization.
Frank
Snoop
Turner.
Dogg.
Frank Turner,
Frank
Snoop
Turner.
Dogg.
Merle Haggard.
Merle Haggard, yep.
Trio.
Yeah, Alkaline Trio. Just
There's a couple that haven't been announced yet, and those are usually pretty big ones.
Yeah, there's
Gore,
one.
Gore,
Gore.
whatever it is. What's
It's not war without.
it's not
Because
Gore.
last year the
Funny, 'cause
replacements
I remember-
were the question marks.
Yeah.
It's
So,
funny
don't
because
get
I
rid of
remember
yeah.
the last year that I went was the year the replacements played, and Guar was playing Friday night when I walked out. I just walked by, I'm like, there's Guar.
Yeah. And that was Brocky War too. So,
Yeah.
God, my voices were there that year too, and I
Yeah,
wanted to go so bad.
2013,
Yeah, I wanted to go so bad.
that was the set because I stayed. That stage was the same stage that the Danzig was coming out and playing.
Yeah.
So but yeah, man. I mean, I'm stoked to go just because they offered some free ticket program and I qualified and I got it. So.
Was it a minority thing?
Because you're a
Yeah,
Mexican.
yeah. The Mexican program is exactly what it is. Why didn't you get in on it, Matt?
Because
Seriously.
I'm only a quarter.
No, they're gonna let him in for a quarter of the price.
Yeah.
He gets a quarter price off.
Still an arm and a leg, regardless. So, but anyways, guys,
What's he did to remember?
let's
Let's see.
no
Really?
Riot Fest, no. But anyways,
Riot Fest,
so let's
eh?
jump into our picks of the week, man. Because I want to get to some more Greg action here. So we got a couple
He's
things
not
going
that
on.
fucking special.
What are you talking about, man? This guy is the man here. So we were
Oh,
just
God,
talking for
please.
like an hour about the co-op stories. God damn it.
That's for a different show.
Yes.
Yeah,
So we'll keep
because
that.
I will reveal secrets
Yes.
that'll get me in trouble.
So let's jump right into it. I'll start off with mine because I've been moving this past couple weeks, and I have a couple of different things going on in my iPod, but most of all was being able to play this album front to back, and it's by a band called Chingon. and it is the album is Mexican Spaghetti Western. But the thing is, this is Robert Rodriguez's band, the director, the producer, and all that stuff. This is his band. He threw together in 2004. And it's about 2003. What is
Wilkins in there taking a dump?
Are you okay?
No, Nez's wife went that way. I guess that door's open and he's in the bathroom.
Holy shit, that's pretty grand. So,
Yep, it's still small, man.
you scared her off with your tiny.
She hadn't seen the penis of a newborn male in years.
What is it about 16, 17 years? See, that's the shit that you cannot write. That was a great moment you'll witness on this podcast. You'll be able to re-listen to that.
Penis only smaller.
Oh, I can't wait to listen to this
You're
shit.
trying to kill me.
Oh, man.
Oh god.
Right, back to Chingo.
Yeah, back to Chingo, and it segues perfect into one of their the first track off their album, Se Me Paró, is about a guy getting a song about a guy getting a boner from his waitress. So, but yeah, they're like a
Is it in Spanish?
Yes.
yeah,
Well, some of it is.
yeah.
Okay.
There's like a few lyrics in English and whatnot, but
I love this album. I
Yeah.
love it. I listened to it again
You
tonight.
gave it a-
oh
yeah, you
yeah,
gave
no,
it
You
no.
sent me the link,
yeah, I did.
and I listened to it the last time I came back from picking my kids up in Southern Illinois, and it may or may not have led to a sexual encounter.
There you go. All right.
So
well, good man, because Nez is trying to talk about what kind of sound it
Masturbated
was.
with your kids in the car?
no, dirty bird,
Bastard.
dirty bird.
You belong on Warped Tour now.
Well, if I could give like what I would say it's really weird. It like you get like some mariachi sounds
Yeah.
with it.
Really?
Then you get a bluesy feel to it. You get some shredding to it. But it's like mariachi alternative rock and roll.
Yeah, like Tex-Mex rock.
So is it like what the Bronx did when they went to their whole El Mariachi Bronx?
I'm not sure because I'm
No, it's not like that at all. It's like a Tex-Mex sound. If you listen to
If it's Tex-Mex, then I got to check it out because I'm into that.
Yeah.
if you listen like I would it's harder than Lost and Lonely Boys, but similar.
Yeah.
All right, because I saw those dudes on public TV one night and my jaw dropped.
Really?
well.
They're awesome. I was talking to
But
these guys
it's
about them the
here's
other
the
I'm not-
thing.
I'm not a fan,
It's
but they're
it's
great
it's really
musicians.
strange
Yeah.
because it's very alternative. It is not.
Yeah.
I mean, like, oh, this is mariachi. Whoa, this is blues, but yet
It's
this
like
is
a-
alternative. My favorite song on there is Bajo Sexto.
Bajo Sexto, yeah.
Oh, that song is awesome.
Yeah. And it's crazy because Selma Hayek actually sings on one of those tracks.
Oh really?
Yeah, she's on the Siente Mi Amor, Feel My Love. So, and that was just kind of weird because she had that little dealio in Desperado too. So, and I mean, I was like, oh, remember that? Now she kicks it into gear with this Mexican spaghetti western, man, and it's just a really great listen, man, and it's been in some of his movies, like
Yes.
I said, Desperado, Kill Bill Volume 2, Once Upon a Time Mexico. And then they even had I know they had like a Chingo Nights, like a version of one of the soundtracks on like the score. Oh yeah, here we go from Machete, the Danny Trejo movie. So and even a Sin City theme was Chingo Nights by them, and they're just Robert Rodriguez. When I was watching the making for the Dusk Till Dawn movie, he likes to carry around a guitar to kind of help his process. Trying to think and how to direct and all that stuff. So he's obviously, very music influenced. So I think it's pretty cool that he came out with a side project like this. I mean, but some of the band members, I don't know if you guys know, like Alex Ruiz is their vocalist. Rodriguez plays the main guitar. Mark Del Castillo, Rick Del Castillo, Albert Ballesteros, Carmelo Torres, and Mike Zioli. Do any of these guys ring a bell? I mean, I've never
The only
heard
Castillo I
of them
know
too.
is Randy.
Yeah, so I mean, it's just
Well, you did know him.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
so I mean, it just a couple guys that probably got together that he knew threw together a really good album here, man, and
The production of it is really good.
yeah, like
it's-
I think there's like 2 versions of it. One of them has like a couple bonus tracks, That's a crystal case, and the one that I have is a digipack, and I got to meet him, and I had him sign it, and it was just awesome. And then,
Nerd.
Yeah, I am. So what? Get over it. So and
Probably the biggest fucking nerd.
when I asked him, about any future projects with Chingon coming on, he said not really a whole lot because he was trying to get his El Rey network off the ground, which is taking off pretty good now. But he says he wants to kind of do some more live performances, maybe with some of the movies, and just do like a little concert of, the stuff is like the clips of movies that his stuff is in. So yeah, that'd be a neat idea to take on the road. But he's busy doing the Jetsons now. So
Robert Rodriguez is doing the Jetsons.
Yeah.
I bet Danny Trejo's in it.
I'm sure he is. So Mexican Spaghetti Western is my pick of the week by Chingon. It's CHINGON. And I give it a listen, man. Greg, I'll post it up on for you.
It's worth checking out.
Do it because I mean, if you guys are saying it's Los Lonely Boys,
Edgy.
but hard,
edgy,
but with an edge, I'd be into that because like I said, I saw those guys on public television one night and was absolutely blown away.
Yeah.
I'd seen the name around, didn't really know who they were. I thought, they were gonna be like a bad version of Menudo.
Not at all.
No.
They're much better than that.
And I watched, I'm flipping through the channels, and I'm like, whoa, who? I'm like, oh, it's Los Lobos. And I'm like, no. I'd look, and Los Lonely Boys, and these dudes are badass.
And they were just here a few years ago.
Last summer.
Rivers had a free one.
And Victor kind of really pushed this down my throat. He's like, come on, you got to listen to this. You have to listen to this. So one night I took it, I'm painting my stones, put it on. When you're working, you listen to it, but you don't really
it's in
hear
the
it.
background, yeah.
Right. So then after I was done, I hit repeat and just sat and just listened to it.
Yeah.
Very impressive.
I mean, it's one that I'll always put over. One of my favorite albums to throw on anytime. So I suggest. And then Nez, I think I also told you that Grupo Fantasma. Do you remember checking them out?
I have not checked them out yet.
I thought you might have, but they're kind of along the same lines of like edgier Latin music. So I think you might get a kick. I'll post that one too. But Chingon Mexican Spaghetti Western, man. That's what I brought.
Good stuff.
Yep.
So
wondered what the hell that was when I saw the
Because
pictures.
I do love Los Lobos.
Yeah, man.
And when they canceled at the outdoor thing that they do in downtown Davenport, I was pissed. The Rib Fest thing, was it River Roots Live or whatever? Yeah, I was bummed out when they dropped off.
Yeah. So Jake, man, what do you bring? Jake Quake, Pride of Barstow.
The Pride of Barstow.
Since I think it was last episode, we were talking about Joy Division a lot. Joy Division sneaks in there. So I decided to listen to Interpol, Turn on the Bright Lights. And so that's what I went with. They're very heavily influenced by Joy Division. Even like the bass is up front. A little bit more technical, I suppose. But not like in a overplaying way. The first record came out like in 2004. The lead singer sounds just like Ian Curtis.
Really?
It's almost haunting.
So like almost even like, do you think they started off as like a Joy Division cover band or anything?
No, they should have. They could pull it off.
Yeah.
They
Somewhere a 16-year-old is pissed.
Oh, is that what those are from still?
Yeah, it's the.
I told you I saved it for the podcast.
It's the teenage bad beer night.
Yeah, the hot beer.
It's because they invited me back. I'm a bastard drunk. That's the problem.
So, no, this album, it did pretty well. Like, I didn't realize when I was reading up on it early, I didn't realize how well it did. It actually was certified gold. They were on Matador, so, I mean, they had a pretty good push, but I don't know. It's basically, it's like a more, I don't even want to say aggressive. It's just a more modern version of Joy Division.
Modernized version.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely got their own sound.
It's an acquired taste.
It really is. I mean,
it's an acquired taste.
It is. But I think if you're a fan of Joy Division, you'll dig them.
Now, how long have these guys been around? I think
the first record came out in 2004. I believe. Guys. Yeah, they're still together though.
What's the lead singer? He's come out with a couple solo projects too.
Yeah, actually, Turn on the Bright Lights came out in 2002.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Now they have a video called Lights.
Yeah.
And
That's
if you've ever seen a more provoking video, check that video out. I'll even post it on the music lovers page.
Yes.
Yeah.
It has everything to do with heroin use in an abstract form, a very artistic way, possibly.
Yeah, I don't know, they're awesome. I think they definitely are acquired taste, like you said. But if you are a fan of the heavy bass line, if you're a fan of Joy Division, you should. That's why I think I tagged you
I
in.
think you did, yeah.
There, I mean, once you hear that dude's voice, I mean, it's just up front. It's just, I don't know, it's good.
Yeah.
But, I mean, there's not really much about the album. It's just good. A couple killer tracks are Obstacle 1 and Rollin'. Tracks 2 and 9. More correctly. But I don't know, something to definitely check out if you guys are so inclined.
I really don't understand why they're not bigger in the States than what they are.
They should be. They should be huge.
I remember when they came out, like when MTV still kind of showed music a little bit. They were making some noise, but
yeah,
nothing.
they did play some videos. The only reason I heard it is because when I worked at Co-op, my buddy Dan had it. He made me listen to it. I was like, these guys are awesome.
Not bad, huh?
And then they put out 2 on Matador, and then they kind of their sound kind of
Isn't it Madonna's album label?
It might be.
Matador?
I know it was Guided by Voices. Maverick.
Maverick was Madonna's. Okay,
Yeah.
that's right.
Matador is more like
Indie rock.
indie rock. Yeah, Guided by Voices were on there for a while.
Right on.
Stuff like that. But
All right.
that's why I brought mine's quick. So.
Yeah, see, this is going at a nice pace because we get more Greg time. So.
Not that fucking cool.
Hey, man.
Thank you, Matt.
So,
He's a handsome man. But
Matt, man, what do you got for us? What do you got for us today? Because
my
there you
album
go.
was Propagandi's Failed States. Propagandi is a band that was, they started out as kind of a skate punk band back in the day in 1986. And Propagandi has become more and more politically active. I saw Propagandi 3 years ago in St. Louis. And it was one of those things where when you go to a show like this is not any kind of show like you would go see these punk bands and you're like, oh yeah, right, rah, 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 and then you'd go home.
Yeah.
When you left a Propaganda show, I spoke to people in this show who were no bullshit anarchists,
Really?
communists, guys that walked it like they talked it. When you speak to these people, they tell you exactly how they feel about everything.
Really?
And Propaganda starts out, their whole mission is they champion, I didn't know this, but evidently Winnipeg and places in Canada are huge with human trafficking.
Really?
And that's one of their big things that they speak out against is human trafficking. The money from their shows go to these causes that champion human trafficking, racism, veganism, all of these things. And when I saw them, it was like seeing them.
For me. What did you say? I said, more steak for me.
Oh, me too, but I'm not a vegan. Come on, I mean, they didn't make them taste so good. But yeah, I mean, and this, when you see these guys, if you listen to their older stuff, they were big, huge hockey fans. Yeah. Obviously, you can't be from Canada and not be a hockey fan.
One of the few good things that happened in Canada.
Exactly. Molson is not. Molson's skunky. But anyway, I digress. Their earlier stuff was very punky, very silly, kind of out there. And then this album is a total departure from that. If you listen to the songs in this album, one of the things, the first song on this album is called Note to Self. And one of the things that struck me when you listen to this, the lyrics are, he says, no walk list, no talk list, no muckraking journalist left to take stock of. And then the end of that line is, how does it make you feel to know you voted for this? Mm-hmm. And so when I hear this is one of those moments where I stop and I say to myself, there's something wrong. Yeah. And it makes you question and it makes you think about these things. People get so wrapped up in, two-party politics. Yeah. And the fact of the matter is two-party politics don't work.
Nope.
And when you listen to these guys and you go on their website and you see these things, you see that it doesn't work. They have a radical left-wing stance on things. They're very liberal the way they think and the way that they approach things. When I saw them a few years ago, they spoke out very openly and loudly against the Bush regime, things like that. So you have to kind of weed through some of that initially to find your own voice as far as that's concerned.
Yeah.
But it's very much worth a listen. If you haven't listened to it, do, because this album, Failed States, it's almost like a Dream Theater-esque. Some of the tunes, some
Really?
of the orchestrations that they put together it's almost like that. Because,
Especially the beginning of that.
yeah,
the first
exactly.
song,
When you first start to listen to it, you're like, wow, this stuff is and this is their first release on Epitaph Records.
Okay.
And Epitaph Records is one of those things like we spoke to earlier. It's so filled up with bullshit now. The artists that are on Epitaph are so it's saturated now with bullshit.
It used to be a really good record label. It really did.
You know,
really was.
back when Lars Fredrickson and the Bastards and Rancid and bands like that and Bad Religion and all of that, but this is one of those things where you listen to it. You can listen to it front to back, and you will feel like you've been to a sermon almost. I mean, it's one of those kind of things. That's how I took from it. They're immediately in your face live. They will grab you and they will hold you and they will let you go only when they're ready. And that's what the best things I saw when I saw them live. Like I said, it was such a small venue in St. Louis, and I was so close. My buddy Dave Kozlarich, great friend of mine. I will mention his name again, Dave Kozlarich. I met him, ironically enough, I put an ad on Craigslist when I still lived down in St. Louis area.
Misconnections.
And I was
casual
like,
encounters.
I saw you at the Quick Trip, and you look
Man
so
for
handsome.
man, male for male, M for M.
No. When I'm a musician. I haven't been able to play music, so I put an ad in the music section.
You are now going to force me to find my Craigslist ad that I made for when I was at Black and Blue Bowl in 2013.
Why can't I go to Black and Blue Bowl? Because you're cooler than me, right? That's what they said, Victor.
I would say that.
So anyway, I digress. I went to this show with Dave Kozlarich. He was a sociology professor at St. Louis at Southern Illinois University at Edwardsville. Typical liberal. Yeah, exactly. He fits the mold. He's a great guy.
Yeah.
He's like, hey, I got tickets. Let's go see Propaganda. And I'm like, oh, well, all right, And him and I have talked about politics, and we talked about this, that, and the other. But when we were there, it was amazing. Ding.
Oh,
Sorry,
ding,
shit.
ding, ding, ding.
That's just like,
Hey,
You're
actually,
not
what's
allowed
the
to
first-
say amazing.
No.
Nez has a hard-on for the word amazing.
Yeah.
I do not have a
It's
hard
a
on for it.
great
I got a
word.
He
big
loves
dick
it.
for it. That's what
I like
have.
awesome.
It's
Awesome.
because our buddy Eddie Trunk abuses that adjective.
Funk the trunk. So
I
anyway,
have. Oh, can I interject for 1 second?
you
I've
sure
caught
can.
myself
Anytime.
using "It's fucking golden" lately, so I'm wearing.
I say that
one
all the
out.
time.
I'm wearing that one out myself.
All right,
say that all the time.
Back to Dave Kozlarich.
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 So anyway,
Kozlarich.
I put an ad on Craigslist, not in the Man for Man section, although I probably could have scored there too
Misconnections.
because I'm a damn good-looking man. But I put it in there, and I'm looking for. My thing was I was looking for guys who like Rancid, Social Distortion, Bad Religion, the SoCal punk scene, and he answered my ad, and we got together. We wrote some pretty good songs, but this was one of the things that I've taken
It's
away
legal
from
in
it.
Illinois now.
Yeah, it totally is. But this is what I'm taking. I'm not even sure what that means. This is
Means
what I.
gay marriage is legal in Illinois.
Right on. I'm a catch. Just throwing that out there. I'm a goddamn good-looking man. But anyway, so I took this away from that. Propaganda. If you haven't listened to it, listen to it.
Right.
Do
Great
yourself a
band.
favor. Do yourself a favor. Like I said, their older stuff is. There's the politics is thrown in there, but there's also that funny stuff. They talk about hockey. They talk about. There's one song, I can't remember the guy's name, but there's a guy who calls hockey night in Canada.
Don Cherry.
Yeah, Don Cherry.
Grapes.
Yeah, and they talk about him. They have a song about him.
Oh.
So I mean, so that's one of those things.
I don't, because I didn't listen to it closely. I had it on the background after you told me what it was. Just don't do it. But it sounded very epic-like.
It is.
It sounds very epic.
I'm passing my phone around with my Craigslist ad
Yes.
that I placed in
Wait a
New York
second.
City.
All right.
So anyway, that's Propaganda. That's Failed States. Came out in 2012.
You'll get it in a second, but so
Can I read this out loud and then we'll go back to propaganda?
yeah.
Here on business, but looking for pleasure. M4W, 44 Brooklyn. Yo, I'm looking for fun in Brooklyn. If you're a little person, go to the top of the list. Must be no limits. D&D free, legal and real. Put Oompa Loompa in subject line so I know you're real.
Did you score?
I got one fucking hit on that in New York fucking City. One!
Damn it.
And all it said was, "Are you generous? $sign, $sign, $sign." I was pissed.
Anyway,
I was like, if there's a midget hooker somewhere in the world, it's in New
gotta
York
be
City,
amazing.
and I'm gonna pay for it. And I'm gonna rent the midget, and I'm gonna find it. But it had to be a male one though. It had to be a male one.
Yeah.
Because I was going to get another hooker, a female hooker, and the midget dude was going to do rails off of her back. He was going to bang her. He was going to buy 8 ball of coke. I wanted to watch the midget dude rail her from behind, bumping rails of coke off of her back. And then when they were done, her and I were going to kick the guy around like a soccer ball.
Because he would have been going as fast as one. Oh my god.
You're talking to the same guy that when the Powerball was at $455 million, the guy, the Indian guy at the gas station I go to buy soda at, asked me what I was going to do if I won. I told him I was going to buy a midget.
Yes.
He told me I couldn't. I was like, dude, with that kind of money, I can buy whatever I
You
want.
buy, $1 million for a
well,
minute.
let's Matt finish his propaganda.
So, failed states, is that a reference to, the feel of the album then? The feel of what they were...
No, failed states is a reference to, if you look it up on Wikipedia, or not Wikipedia, but if you Google failed states, it talks about how government looks at the states failing in different things, monetarily.
That pot calling the kettle black.
Exactly, but that's where he comes from, and it's funny that he talks about the midgets. The band's members champion various radical left-wing and anarchist causes and veganism, and have taken a vocal stance against human rights violations, sexism, racism, nationalism, homophobia, imperialism, capitalism, and organized religion.
That sounds pretty fun.
Nowhere in there
Doesn't
they say
mention
it's
midgets.
not cool to...
Doesn't mention midgets.
Hey, look, one of my bucket lists...
Is to own a midget?
Well, that's technically illegal because it's human trafficking, but I say it falls under the umbrella of an exotic pet. That's my reasoning. Some people want giant lizards or poisonous snakes. I want a really small person with bowed legs and basset hound front legs for arms and a huge head.
Oh my! This is why this episode is going to be the best ever.
So I digress.
Yes, there you go.
I want the tears from my eyes.
I can't wait for his segment.
But one of my bucket list wishes is to have my picture taken holding Bushwick Bill from the Ghetto Boys. Holding him like a small child.
Jeez.
Cuddling him?
Yes.
Like
Swooning.
Yes.
with a blanket.
My mind is playing tricks on me.
Yes.
So anything else you want to add to that, man?
I don't think there's anything else I can add to this at this point.
I think we're just gonna skip you and just go straight to midget loving.
That's
here.
fine.
So, That's fine.
Oh, dude.
So,
Aaron's
no,
gotta
we're going to
No,
this. So,
dude, no.
hey, thanks, Matt. Appreciate definitely an interesting listen. So
Oh,
we
that's the
will
one
check
you
it
just
out. But
purchased.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm
yes,
speaking over you. Sorry.
let's get right into it because he did just show us that.
Well, no, if you guys are not familiar with Phenomena, people consider it to be a super group, and which it is. I guess you could be called that, but it was formed by Tom Galley, the record producer extraordinaire from the 70s and 80s, and if that last name sounds familiar, Mel Galley, his younger brother, was a guitar player for Whitesnake back in the inception of the. I think it was before the Marsden.
Okay.
Movie. I'm not quite sure, but anyway, no, actually, he was afterwards. Let me take that back.
Okay.
But anyway, so his brother decided to design a concept of supergroup, and it was kind of similar to what we did when I talked about the Bill Ward album. It was an album done by committee, and so what he did was on the first album, self-titled Phenomena, he employed Glenn Hughes and Ray Gillen, Scott Gorham from Thin Lizzy,
Awesome.
Brian May from Queen,
Nice.
Cozy Powell,
Oh,
Nice.
and Kiyoshi Yamamoto, and he was an Axeman from Japan. So, and so he
Was he an easy elf?
I don't know.
Loudness. Loudness.
So
Was
Easy-O.
it Loudness?
It might have been. It might have been Loudness or
I think it
Easy-O.
was loudness.
Rock and roll crazy night, we love you, Iowa.
So he had it was
Thank you,
three albums: Phenomena 2, Dream Runner, Phenomena 3, Intervision. Intervision had Brian May on vocals through the whole thing, and then the first two had Glenn Hughes and Ray Gillen on vocals, doing dual vocals on that one. And then what ended up happening was they went on hiatus after '93, after Intervision, and then they came back in 2006. Mel Galley also helped with this, but he died in 2008. So his last contributing was to Psycho Fantasy, which they gave up the moniker of it being called Phenomena. They just went by, this is Psycho Fantasy. In the little print above it, it says Phenomena. Right. And then it's Psycho Fantasy, that was in 2006. 2010, Blind Faith was brought out, and then in 2012 it was Awakening. And then I believe, memory serves me right, 2010, 2012, they had Tony Martin from the IRS era of Black Sabbath on vocals for so very cool. It was a very cool
Dickie
thing.
would suck if he walked down the stairs right now.
Probably.
We know Nez's love for the Black
Don't
Sabbath.
ever talk bad about the Tony Martin era.
I love it. So
are these aren't necessarily like musicians for hire? Then they're just like they're all guys. That
No, they're just. You know what? I have no idea who you're even talking about as far as the band goes, but it's just probably all dudes that knew each other.
Yeah.
well, it was Tom Galley. He was the he was the engineer, producer extraordinaire.
Yeah.
He had the song. He wrote the songs. Him and his brother wrote the songs.
He just needed people.
Right, and he
he's
had
like,
connections,
okay.
and so this is what it was. And
I want you to play. And you
they never
play.
toured. It was studio stuff only, and they only had one song that was a hit single, and that was in South America, and it was called "Did It All for Love" off the first album, and it also charted in Europe, in Japan, and Brazil. So
See, that's because
American
Brazil.
people are dumb.
Yeah, no, Brazil
Yes.
have the most faithful music fans in the entire world. Those guys,
And American people are stupid.
really, yeah. When it comes
Well,
to music,
it's-
they're ignorant.
you know,
the
They're
general
too
public is.
close-minded.
well,
Yeah,
and that's
yeah,
and as you say that, Greg, it's funny that you say that, and you guys could probably that is the reason why Frontiers record was established in Italy,
Right.
because Americans aren't appreciative of the classic rock and the classic heavy metal sound of the 80s and maybe the 70s and 80s. So Frontiers releases everything in Italy. You can't even buy anything from Frontiers records, I don't think, in America unless you buy it off eBay.
eBay, like even when you go to the website, I don't know if they even offer shipping over here.
No.
And if they do, it's an arm and a leg anyway.
eBay and Amazon.
Discogs ain't bad.
No, but anyway, the Phenomena, the songs are a science fiction concept. The first three albums are.
Oh, concept records, eh?
Right. So I don't really know the whole concept about it, but it's a science fiction theme. That being
Fair
said, I really don't know the story. Yeah,
So it's Scientology.
That's maybe.
Oh, they wrote 3 albums about the Bible.
We'll just say that's what it is.
But anyway, I find if you guys want to find something a little bit different, with maybe big production on it, I'm not gonna lie to you guys. The first 3 albums, they're very synth pop of that sound. They incorporate that whole
Like
80s synth pop
bad
stuff.
Rush era synth stuff.
There is some of that in there.
Oh man,
Talk
Power
about trees and
windows.
shit.
Yeah, but it is what it is, and it was something that came out, and it was something different.
Right.
So,
Oh, there you go. That's your specialty here, Nez, and like I said, this is all. I'm going to reiterate that this is a not the group itself, Quad City Music Lovers, Traders,
Collectors.
Music lovers, collectors, and traders.
Damn, I didn't wear
Now
my
this is
shirt.
the 10th and a half episode we've done this in.
Yeah, I know, and I'm not wearing my shirt, which we have available, but I'll plug those at the end of the show. But you know, it's something different. Brings a lot of different things to the group, and this is one of those. The propaganda.
How many times did we listen to Black Cross?
The Headless Cross?
Yeah, Headless Cross. How many times did we listen to that record?
Oh, too many times to count.
Hundreds.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. The IRS era years of Black Sabbath are totally looked over.
They
and
are.
the thing that's kind of, I don't even know how to say this, but Copeland, the owner of it, Stuart Copeland's.
Andy Copeland.
No, was it Miles Copeland?
Miles
Copeland, the drummer from the Police.
Oh.
His
He
brother,
Yeah.
Miles owned IRS.
Oh.
And so it was all alternative, college, 120 minutes type stuff back. Yeah, right.
REM was
Right.
the big one, right?
Right. They were.
Okay.
He saved the Black Sabbath and Tony Iommi from, there was no other record company that was going to pick them up.
Because it was just Tony Iommi, wasn't it?
It was just Tony Iommi.
Yeah.
And what he said to him, there was an interview. It's just, you can read it anywhere. It just turned, interviews about Tony Iommi's IRS years of Black Sabbath, and he said, Miles Copeland just told me, he said, you're a singer. I mean, you're a musician and you're a songwriter. Just write music. We will put it out there, and that's what saved Black Sabbath from dying and Tony Iommi from dying.
Pretty much, yeah, like literally too.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Well, there you go, man. Well, nice little interesting tidbits learned here today, but we are all about to get reamed in our butts by Greg over
Wow.
here.
He's not
So-
that fucking cool.
He's just mad.
Wilkins is trying to kill me. This is awesome.
Jesus.
he's got his hand on his forehead. What the? Why am I?
Why am I?
Before we jump into it, do we want to get some new beers, get some new pop, get some new water, whatever we're drinking.
Are you gonna drink?
No, I'm good. I will say this from here on out. Whatever Greg says, it's all what he says. I'm probably going to agree with most of it, and this is why we have him on. And
I think I'm just going to disagree with most of it just to piss him off.
and it's gonna too.
That's
so.
fine.
It's all about the first album. It's all about the first album. Everything else sucks.
Yeah.
It's
So
not necessarily true.
So we'll do our segment, but then we're just gonna kind of jump on to whatever Greg wants to ramble about, and maybe a little bit of a band association towards the end of the show. So,
Oh, cool.
Greg Thompson.
That's where I'll go. First record's great, everything else sucks.
Exactly.
Yes. So we'll see what he pulls out later. But Greg Thompson, what do you got for us today, man? What do you?
Well, my pick is probably the one record that probably changed my life more than anything, and that's Agnostic Front's Victim in Pain.
Okay.
Being a kid from the Midwest in a smaller area, at this point in time, we were still the farm implement capital of the world. The 80s, mid-80s, it came out in 84. And my only connection to learning about bands was through Maximum Rock and Roll and buying records and reading thank you lists. So I start reading, and that's one thing that really bums me out about digital downloading is that you don't get to have that relationship with, I can't believe I said that word because it's not my vocabulary.
No.
You get to have a intimate session with the piece of
Paper.
You get that happy
physical copy.
ending.
you get the happy because you have a physical
midget
copy
ritual.
of
Yeah,
it.
you can smell the. You can
Yeah.
smell the paper.
Yeah.
It's
And
all
that was
stuff.
how I learned about bands was through reading Maximum Rock and Roll and checking thank you lists. And I had seen Agnostic Front mentioned a few times on different things, and at the time, Maximum Rock and Roll absolutely just talked mad shit about them. because Maximum Rock and Roll was super PC, and anybody that came out of New York was assholes, and, you know, Agnostic Front's a Nazi skinhead band, blah, 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 whatever. But I knew the singer was Cuban, and I'm like, how the fuck do you have a white power band with a Cuban singer? You know, so I remember seeing the record in the import section at Record Bar in South Park Mall, and what's funny is it was on Rat Cage Records, which was made in America. It was an American label, and I bought it. I was like, you know, here's this record that Maximum Rock and Roll absolutely fucking chastised these guys and said they were just bonehead Nazis, but yet they got a Cuban guy that sings for them, so I just got to check it out and see what it's about. And I took that home, and I put that on my turntable, and I was absolutely fucking blown away. It was nowhere near racist music. It was... Matt brought this up earlier today before we even started recording the podcast. It was all about unity and everybody in the New York hardcore scene being united. And it was and New York hardcore at the time was very, very diverse. You know, you had Latinos, you had blacks, you had Asian people, you had white people, you had crust punks, you had skinheads, you had punk rockers, and hardcore kids, and all these people were together doing this all together. And you know, the Lower East Side at the time was a fucking dirty, nasty, shitty place. Krishna kids, you know, it was a dirty, nasty, shitty place. These guys were living in squats. You know, there were junkies laying dead in the gutters and stuff. And here was this band that didn't come out yelling, you know, kill the blacks, kill the Mexicans, kill the Jews. It was a bunch of dudes saying, you know what, unity, 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 one scene together, united strong, blacks and white, united strong, punks and skins. And I was just like, holy fuck, you know. And they were pissed off at the government, and they were pissed off at society, you know. And in 1984, I was 15 years old, and I fucking hated everyone and everything because I didn't know where I fit in. You know, I had been listening to punk rock since 1982 when some older dudes that I swam with introduced me to, like, 77 punk. And then some of those dudes started listening to, like, earlier East Coast stuff, Boston stuff, DC stuff, but mainly West Coast stuff, you know, Black Flag, the Minutemen and stuff like that. So, you know, I was stoked on that stuff, and I, you know, was still listening to 77 punk, you know, I was still listening to Clash, I was listening to Pistols and The Damned and Sham 69 and UK Subs, Stiff Little Fingers, you know, but I was getting more and more into hardcore because that was American music and it was easier to get.
Yeah.
And but yet still hard because of where we live. But and doing mail order back then was, you know, it wasn't a crapshoot. You were going to get fucked.
Yeah.
Right, right.
But you
That's
know,
very true.
Right.
Yeah.
I just grabbed onto that and I ran with it, you know. And since I bought that record, you know, I loved Minor Threat at that point.
Yeah.
I loved Government Issue. I loved the Teen Idols. I loved SOA. I love Fear. I love Black Flag. I love Social Distortion. You know, all these different things that I'd been hearing, and then I heard Agnostic Front, and it was like it was over from there, dude. It was just like New York hardcore is where it's at.
Yeah.
So I started to try and find everything that I could New York hardcore, and it was hard. It was hard being from the Quad Cities, and thank God in the back of Maximum Rock and Roll there were classified ads. I'm sure if you wanted to, you could pick up dudes, pick up chicks, you know, whatever.
Oh, there's a lot of
like
that.
Craigslist, but
Yeah, look at midgets.
that'd be awesome. Kick them around like soccer balls, but
Right.
tape trading was huge then.
Yeah.
And I mean,
okay.
tape trading was really huge in the metal community, and it was really big in the hardcore and punk community, and that's how I got to hear a lot of stuff. And then, you know, I went to school with dudes that were into 77 punk, and then I met other kids from other, because I went to Moline, and I met other kids from other schools that were like into what I was into. You know, they were into Black Flag, and they were into the Circle Jerks, and they were into Fear, and they were into Minor Threat, and the Boston bands and stuff. And you know, and these were all kids on the Illinois side of the river. Well, then guess what? There were kids on the Iowa side of the river too.
Wait,
You
that
know,
Big magical river.
That big magical river that held us apart, and people started to get their driver's license, and then voila, you could go to the other side of the river and you start meeting these people. And then a guy that was from here that had moved and went out to California came back. He's now passed on. His name was Brian Ruberg. And Brian was the first guy that ever started doing all ages shows in the Quad Cities. And that took the river away and bridged the gap and brought everybody together from both sides of the river. And that's when the DIY all ages hardcore scene started in the Quad Cities, is when Brian started doing that in the mid to late 80s. And it's just blossomed from there. And Agnostic Front, to me, is Victim in Pain's the greatest hardcore record ever made. You know, some people are going to say bullshit, you know, but, you know, everybody's entitled to their own opinion. And to me, it's the greatest fucking hardcore record ever made. I'm fortunate enough that I have an original first pressing on Rat Cage Records with the gatefold cover, and it is a known fact to enough people, my ex-wife included, my kids, and numerous friends and some very close friends that I consider family, know that when I die, if I don't get cremated, if I'm buried in a casket, that record goes in the fucking ground with me.
Fantastic.
That's how much that record means to me.
He's been saying that since the mid to late 80s, too, by the way.
That record goes in the fucking ground with me. I mean, that's when I die, and if I get buried, I want a picture of my kids. I want a can of soda. I don't want cigarettes anymore because I quit smoking. I want to be buried in a t-shirt, a pair of camo shorts, and a pair of fucking tennis shoes.
Yeah.
And I want my Agnostic Front Victim in Pain gatefold pressing on Rat Cage Records to go in the ground with me. I mean, that record absolutely fucking changed my life.
We'll use that for you.
And it's now
It's down.
Yeah, it's down. It's down. I mean,
That's not fucking Greg. Don't lie to us.
That's you know, and some fucking demented grave robber is probably going to come and dig me up and steal it.
Yeah,
like a fucking dick.
Yeah, you know, and here's the thing, and as Greg says this, and as when Greg was working at the Rock Island Co-op, I used to ride my 10-speed up there.
Yeah.
You know, must have been right after. Was it right after Roger Merritt got out of prison?
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah, because I went and I that was the first time I saw him.
Okay,
Was when he got out of jail.
I walked in to the Rock Island Co-op. It was late at night. It was right getting close, maybe 8:30. You guys closed at 9, right?
Yeah.
And you had Agnostic Front live at the CBGB. It was brand new. You must have had a promotional copy. And that was the first time I ever heard Agnostic Front. I went right over and bought the thing. I still have it. Great live album. You know.
You guys want to see the band, or do you want to see the bouncer?
Yeah, that's right.
Dennis has got something he'd like to say. Yeah, if you don't quit fucking around, you're going to live to see tomorrow.
But like as you said, like Matt said, the cool thing about it was the first thing that was said on that is like, this isn't a racist song. This is just the goddamn motherfucking truth.
Yeah,
and that was just the way it was, man.
That was public assistance.
Yep.
So what other things came out of the New York hardcore scene for you that I mean, obviously you're very passionate about this album, but what other things were coming out at that time that, you know, opened your eyes to all that stuff?
Well, I mean, you had Heart Attack. Are you guys familiar with the glam band Degeneration?
Yep.
Of course I know who Quake is. Well, Jesse Mallon from Degeneration was in Heart Attack.
Really?
Jesse now does... he does solo stuff, and Degeneration's doing things again. You had Warzone in some way, shape, or form was doing something. who the singer who's now passed on, Rabies from Warzone, was in Agnostic, played drums in Agnostic Front on the United Blood 7-inch, which was their first.
He played drums on that?
Yeah, he played drums on United Blood. What other shit was going on in New York at the time? Sick of It All was in the very early stages. The Live at CBGB's, the first Live at CBGB's record was kind of when the Madball thing started. That was when Freddie got up and sang with them, and they kind of did that whole joke thing. Madball actually started out as a joke with Freddie was like 10 or 11 at the time, and that's Roger, the singer from Agnostic Front's little brother, and Madball's like actually a huge band now worldwide and everything.
Right.
That actually started out as a joke, you know, just to have something to do for Freddie to do his thing, because Freddie would come up from Miami during the summers and live with Roger and the Squats and whatnot, and he ended up, you know, he stayed and he's got Madball and does
Freddie
his
Madball
thing.
looks like Frankenstein. I'm sorry if you let me see, look at that dude. I mean, he looks kind of like Frankenstein.
Yeah,
That's no bullshit. So
you know, and I mean, and Freddie's done Madball. He did Hazen Street. He's done a hip hop record. You know, there's so many fucking great things that have come out in New York City. Like Matt said, Sick of It All. You had the fucking Cro-Mags.
Cro-Mags.
Breakdown, Crackdown, Straight Ahead, New York City Mayhem, Rest in Pieces, and then you had the 88 Youth Crew Straight Edge thing with Youth Today, Underdog, who Eric absolutely loves.
Oh yeah.
Jesus Christ, so much shit. Breakdown, Crackdown.
Civ, when was that?
Civ came out after Gorilla Biscuits
Gorilla Biscuits.
dissolved. Gorilla Biscuits was before Civ. Civ was the singer from Gorilla Biscuits,
Right.
and then he kind of did his thing, and he had Sammy Sigler, who played drums on the second Youth Today record and played drums in Judge. And Charlie, I always say Galarraga because that's what it but it's not. It's more of an Italian name, but I say Galarraga just because of Andres Galarraga, because I'm kind of a fucking sports nerd too. And Arthur Smilios playing bass, Charlie played guitar, Sammy Sigler played drums, and Civ was on vocals. And it was like they wrote a record and did it, and they didn't want to be, you know, known as Gorilla Biscuits Jr. And people like,
You couldn't live up to that anyway.
No, you know, and they wrote a great record, and it's super fucking awesome. That first Civ record's super awesome.
Yeah, it is.
The second album has grown on me over the years. I hated it at first.
That's
Surprise!
The second
How do you know?
record.
We're saving that for later.
So here's my thing. Here's Greg Thompson's not that fucking cool.
No, I'm not.
But here's I'll stroke his balls for 1 second because this is my connection to Greg Thompson. I was a little fat kid, little metal kid back in the day. I always liked my Testament albums. I liked my fucking new wave of British heavy metal albums.
Cool.
Right.
And I went to Co-op on 14th Avenue in Rock Island, and I went in there and I was buying my albums like I always did. Greg Thompson says, "Hey, check this out," and it was an Agnostic Front album. I took it home. I listened to it. And I had the same epiphany that he had listening to that the album that he's talking about. I had the same epiphany. I can't tell you what the album is. I don't know. But
Victim in Pain.
it may have been. I don't remember. It was orange. I remember it was
The Victim
orange.
in Pain was the lettering red or was it orange? I think some copies it was kind of orangish, wasn't it?
Yeah, and then like the all black copy that Combat did, and there's been so many different versions.
How many versions do you have?
I actually only have my original.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
But
On vinyl.
I took from that, and then I started listening to Sick of It All, Gorilla Biscuits, and then that obviously comes into Terror and Hatebreed and all of these other bands, and Madball and all of that stuff, and Sick of It All. I actually met the guys from Sick of It All in St. Louis. And
Super awesome, dude.
very cool guys. My buddy was in a wheelchair, and he's passed on now. You know, long story with that, but he was in a wheelchair. He worked for an independent college radio station, and they had a CD of music they had just pressed. It hadn't even been released yet, and he was talking to them, and he's like, "Well, hey, here's the thing. We just pressed these CDs. It hasn't even fucking been released yet. Go play this on your record station or on your radio station at WLCA in Godfrey, Illinois." And he went and played it before it had even anybody had ever talked about it. It wasn't one of those kind of things where they were like, "Oh no, we got to get our royalties. We got to make our money." No, they're
Right.
like, "Get our music out."
That's what. See,
Yeah,
that's
I mean, they're just dudes that came from Queens, New York, and they're still doing it. Those dudes are just solid cats.
I was
because,
pissed because they didn't play Injustice System,
You know, they're just
and they were
solid
like, "Well, hey, you
cats.
can't do them all every night," you know.
You know,
Right.
they're solid cats. They've never forgot where they came from. You know, I mean, they're some of the fortunate ones that have been able to make a career
right.
out of playing hardcore. And they've never lost touch with who they are or where they came from. You know, they're still those dorky kids from Queens that, you know, are the alleyway crew. And the story about the alleyway is funny, you know, because, you know, they were part of the alleyway crew, and really all that was just like a walkway that led from a school playground, you know, and there's people all over the world that have the alleyway crew dragon tattoo, and like all these, like, oh yeah, alleyway crew, and you know, it's funny to them because they know that it, you know, it was just like all these kids in Queens that hung out in the same spot and like would listen to tapes on jam boxes and like hang out, and then, you know, on the weekends they would go to CBGBs for matinees and stuff, and like people all over the world thought it was like, you know, this huge group of people that were like doing whatever they were doing, you know, being these fucking dirty thugs and shit. And I mean, no, they were just dorky kids from Queens that played hardcore music, and it's funny and it's awesome, and you know,
It's a good thing for kids that don't know where the hell they go or where the hell they belong.
I'll tell you what, man, you know, you'll find this troubling and hard to believe, but in grade school, I was a fucking horrible kid. I was fucking awful. I was terrible. I was so fucking shitty that when I was in 4th grade, they chased the fucking nurse out of her office and put her in a different office, and myself and another dude who was in 6th grade at the time was in so much trouble that they put us in there. They put 2 of those old wooden teacher desks in there. This guy was in 6th grade, couldn't read, couldn't do math, he could barely write. I taught the dude how to read, taught him how to do math, taught him how to write, and still passed 4th grade. And he got out of 6th grade somehow because they just passed him along. And I think that guy's in prison now, which is not a shocker. But you know, I was a fucked up kid. I was angry, you know, and I didn't take shit for face value, and I questioned everything, and that got me in a lot of trouble.
A lot of kids do that though, but the thing is,
And then I hit middle school, and I wasn't as angry anymore. Physically angry, the violence was gone. I didn't want to fight everybody and everything, but I wouldn't take shit for face value. I still had my fuck authority, question authority thing. And that is when the older guys that I swam with turned me on to, you know, 77 punk and early East Coast and early West Coast punk stuff and hardcore stuff, and I was like, holy shit, there's this whole other group of people somewhere in the world that think like I do. Because at the time, I didn't know where I fit in. I mean, I know the Moline school system's probably no different than any school system anywhere. I don't care if it's in a small urban area, small rural area, or a giant urban area. Clicks.
right?
You got your jocks, you got your popular kids,
Oh yeah.
you got your burnouts, you got your, you know, your shop kids who hung in with the burnouts and whatnot, you know. But I was friends with all those dudes, and I didn't give a fuck. If you were cool to me, I was cool to you.
Yep.
And that, you know, so I didn't know where I fit in. I was just this, I don't want to say confused kid, but I was angry, and I wasn't going to take everything just because some adult told me to. You know, it was just like blind faith. Where's it? You know, sometimes blind faith can work out for you. A lot of times it's not going to.
Yeah.
So I questioned everything, you know, and then I found this music that was loud and aggressive and abrasive, and it questioned things, and I was like, okay, here's these sounds that I'm hearing. Now, how do I find these other kids?
But it also tells you, if you think about it, it also tells you it's loud, it's aggressive, it's all of these things. But it also says you're going to be okay. We got you.
Right, exactly. So here, I'm trying to figure out, okay, where do I find more kids that feel the way I feel? Because there's other people in this world that feel like I feel, and guess what? I found it within the hardcore community. I'm 46 years old right now. I don't give a fuck how old I am. When I take my last breath, I'm going to be a hardcore kid.
Yep.
If I'm fucking 99 years old and I take my last breath, guess what? I'm dying a fucking hardcore kid.
Yeah.
And I don't give a fuck.
One thing I will say for Thompson, like, you still go to, like, local punk shows. Like, I was at, like, this was probably a year ago, Grestics opening up for some, I can't remember the band, they're from Oklahoma. But go there, walk in there, who the fuck's there? Thompson sitting there, hanging out. He still, to this day, will go support shows. And, I mean,
Dude, I go to punk shows, I go to hardcore
he
shows, I
goes
go to metal
everywhere,
shows.
and it's about supporting the music and supporting the community, and he's still,
You know, because
he
people
lives it and breathes it.
When I was doing hardcore bands and stuff, people came and saw us.
Yes.
You know what? And if
Great band.
if we
Buttlet.
don't
Yeah.
if we
Buttlet
don't
sticker.
if
Yeah, can I get a buttlet sticker for saying the name?
I don't think that there is such a thing.
I used to go see those guys.
Those guys were fags. They were a
It
sausage
was your
core
fucking
band.
fault that I went to see Buttlet.
Well, we were a sausage core band because, you know, really only another man knows how to please another man. Love you, Joe Vianney. But, you
I used
know,
to go to those shows at the VFW.
you know,
The DIY shows with 6
Yeah.
bands for $5.
Right.
yes.
I used to go to those shows. I saw a guy get smoked in his face with a full can of Budweiser at one of those shows.
And then the thing is, when the show's over, you help pick up, you clean it up, make sure it looks
Exactly.
good, so
We-
you can go back
we
again.
policed ourselves. You
Right,
know? I mean,
right. I mean, during the show, it was wild as hell.
You know, it was crazy because, you know, we had to work for what we had, you know. People were not exactly crazy when, you know, some 16-year-old kid comes rolling into their place, you know, whether it be a VFW or an FOE or wherever, you know, one of those fraternal organizations. You
Yeah.
come rolling in because they have halls for rent, you know, and it's like, well, what are you going to be doing? We're going to have a dance. Well, what kind of dance are you going to have? Well, there's going to be some rock and
slam.
roll. Going to be some rock music played. Oh, okay. You know, and then you show up the day of the venue, the day of the show at the venue, and some of these kids are crazy looking, and, you know, they're kind of freaking out and shit, and then they see what's going on, and then they figure out that, guess what, these kids really ain't all that bad. They're not bad kids. You know, they're doing their own thing. They might look a little crazy. They might look a little intimidating or whatever, but you know what? We policed ourselves, we cleaned up after ourselves, and we did everything we could to not let a venue get fucked up. If somebody was acting a fool, guess what? They got taken care of and they got
You got a
thrown
fucking
out.
full can of Budweiser in your face.
Right? If you
I
acted
remember
stupid, you got dealt with.
I was probably 13 or 14 years old. I was young. I was really young. I don't know how I even got in the show. It was an all-ages show. I paid my money, and I walked right in
That's
the
how
fucking
you got
door.
in. It was all ages.
Yeah.
And I walked in there, and the band was playing, and that was right around the time that Black Flag played.
They played the FOE Club
The
downtown
FOE.
Moline.
Yeah. That was right around the time. It may have even been that show.
Black Flag, Painted Willie, and Gone.
It may have even been that show. I was really young, but I'm almost positive I was at that show. So anyway, this guy is acting bullshit. He's muscling on people. He's doing that kind of thing. And this guy comes walking up with a full can of Budweiser, smokes him in the face. 2 other guys pull him outside. You don't see that guy the rest of the night.
Right.
You know, and I'm sitting there like, oh my
Black
God.
Flag did an all ages show that day at the FOE in downtown Moline. It was Black Flag, Painted Willie, and Gone. Then they did a 21 and over show at Ribco that night.
That's
Yeah,
what I was telling you about.
yeah.
I
went-
thought it was at the Moose for some reason.
No. It was FOE downtown Moline. Which
So
is
wait,
where
how
I've
long-
also seen some super awesome independent wrestling shows as a child.
So how long has Ribco been around?
Ribco's been
long
around for a
time.
grip.
Has it really?
Terry hasn't always owned it.
No.
See, I like obviously like I haven't been 21 that 9 years, so I haven't been going to shows for like at Ribco. And
I
stuff
was
for that
at
long.
the I got snuck in the back door at that 21 and over show, so yes, I was there illegally. But the
But-
cool thing is that they broadcast that show that night on KFMH.
Yes, they did.
Are you serious?
Yes, they did.
Yes, they did.
KFMH broadcast that show that night on the radio.
KFMH also broadcast the very first time the Meat Puppets played at Ribco way back in the day. I think it was '83.
Yep.
Something like
Really?
that. When they were a punk band.
They were on SST.
Yep.
Yeah.
Really?
Oh, SST was a great label.
See, the first time I saw them was like that. Was it the New Year's Eve show? Like when they, like the first time they
Yeah.
came back, when the bass player looked like he was still dead. Like he was
Kirk
still,
Kirkwood?
yeah,
Is that
he,
Kirk, or-
not still dead. He looked like he was still messed up on heroin, really bad.
Pretty
but
much
he-
still dead. Yeah.
Pretty much still dead,
Yeah,
yeah.
he looked like he weighed 90 pounds soaking wet, and that's not an exaggeration. But he played, he did fine. He was drinking pop at the show, so I mean,
They've
he
just
said
had,
he's clean.
the thing is, and Greg can vouch for this one. They've had a lot of good bands down at Ribco.
Oh man, dude, I've seen so many awesome shows down at Ribco.
Since I've been able to go show, I've seen some bands that I liked down there, like Fast Pussycat and Tracy Gunn's LA Guns, and hell, they had some pretty good even
Who
cover
Jason
bands.
said is super awesome, dude.
Tracy Guns.
He still talks to Tracy on a regular basis.
Dude, I talk to Tracy like on Facebook, like we can bullshit. He's like,
yeah, him and Jason.
I'm still-
Him and Jason are still cool.
Greg and I were both down at the same show when the original Corrosion of Conformity, the Power Trio,
yeah.
came back and played down there.
The
And
three-piece, that was awesome.
And I'm sitting here still pissed that I fucking missed Slick Rick down there. So.
I was out of town when Slick
Where are
Rick
you?
played.
Yeah, so was I. I was at a show. So.
And I had to miss Rakim too because I was out of
I
town.
was there. I was at Rakim, and I got sick with the flu, and I had to go home. I missed the whole show.
Rakim was there, no shit.
And I missed Digital Underground.
That's
Yeah,
wait, what?
was that a few years ago?
Eric B. and
Digital
Rakim.
Under-
No,
Digital Underground.
Digital Underground. Yeah, they were there about 3-4 years ago. Maybe.
What the hell?
It was like right after Naughty by Nature was there.
Oh, okay, I remember
I was
that.
at the Naughty by Nature show.
Well,
Man.
Greg, man, listen, you brought up some stuff here.
We
that-
still got to do some more talking here.
Oh.
we don't want to give this up yet.
Okay,
Because
all
we
right.
need to-
I'm on you. I'm just saying. I mean, well, like, so what?
Because the thing is that we gotta talk about just a brief minute, and Matt and I can probably vouch for this one. Is like the Rock Island Co-op did a lot of good things for you and I.
It really did. It's. I am a member of a group. It's and it's not it's one of those kind of things that it's not we're not a gang, we're not a motorcycle group or anything else. It's called the Local Dregs Social Club. I started the Dregs. I started the group in high school because of things that I saw in the hardcore scene, the brotherhood. If one guy steps against you, then two guys step against him, because that's how you succeed. That's
Yeah,
how
if
you
there's
live.
one of you and 10 of us, guess what? Fuck you, you're fighting 10 of us.
Yeah, exactly. And
Friends
that's
don't
why,
let friends fight alone.
I had friends that were getting beat up and getting their getting their asses handed to them on a daily basis. So I said, fuck that. Why are we doing that? All of us can do this, and we can be a community. And it's not about race. It's not about any of these things. Let's start a group. Let's keep everybody safe. And that's what we did. And so when I moved back to the Quad Cities, we're starting another group, and it's the same thing. And it's called the Loyal Drag Social Club. We're called the Dregs because every one of us in this room is a drag. You don't think you are, but you are. Everyone is this lower class citizen, and if you think you're not, look again. You can have the greatest job in the world, but if you think you're not a lower class citizen, look again, because you're not one of the Illuminati. You're not one of these guys standing, with these $1 billion industries.
Yeah.
And my dad was a member of the union from the day he graduated from high school to the day he passed away, and that's why I feel the way that I do about unions and everything else, and everything is the same. The unions are the same, just like the hardcore scene, just like everything.
But what I wanted to get back to is
It's a whole nother topic I can talk about.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I know.
the biggest thing is that
Sorry, there, I went off now.
what the Rock Island Co-op did for maybe it was just a small minority of kids, and at the time I was a kid, and Greg was.
It was super awesome because nights when it'd be slow, when Eric would come in, it'd just be like, oh fuck yes, because Eric, you and I, we just talked about this. I started working there in 1986.
Mm-hmm.
Here it is, 2015. I've known you that long.
Yep.
Well, it's one of those things that like it brings.
Yeah, 86. I was riding my bicycle.
Almost 30 years.
Because I'm 46 years old.
The guy I worked with at Co-op, me and him are still friends. We don't see each other every fucking day anymore, but like last time I saw him, we hung out for like 3 hours just bullshitting about old stories, and we hugged at the end of the night and we left, and like it's just one of those things that like.
And I don't want to cut
brings everybody
right. I don't want to cut you short on this one. I don't but the Rock Island Co-op was like a neighborhood record store.
Right.
It was. We would walk. I don't know miles wise what it is from my house when we lived on 23rd Street, 9th Avenue to Co-op, but we would walk. It could be 400 degrees outside. We would still walk to Co-op. Everybody would meet at my house, and we'd be like, what do you want to do? Oh, I don't know. Well, let's cruise up to Co-op. Okay. We'd go up there. I would buy my skull rings. I would buy my music up there. Every little bit of money that I would save up, I would spend at Co-op. I didn't take it to the grocery store and buy soda pop. I didn't take it to the mall and buy stupid-ass T-shirts at the Gap. No, I took my money to Co-op. Why? Because that's where it was at. That was the scene. And when you were a little kid, even 13, 14 years old, and you're starting to first, once everybody got past the fact that you either like Michael Jackson or Van Halen when I was a kid. When I was in 6th grade, you like Michael Jackson or Van Halen. Once we got past that, and once you started seeing all of this other shit, and then you're like...
This whole other fucking world
Oh my God, right? I mean, and then it's like, I talked to Nez about when my dad was a big proponent of Columbia House Records, and he used to always screw up and not send the card back, and he'd have to always buy the selection of the month. The one time he fucked up and didn't send the card back, and my brother Aaron and I, or Jason, Big J, got Live After Death by Iron Maiden.
Yep.
That was a turning point. That was one of those things where we're like, holy shit. And then when I went in that one day, and I'm buying my Testament and my Suicidal Tendencies albums, and Greg Thompson says, hold on a second, if you like Suicidal Tendencies, you like that punk stuff, check this out. And he sold me Agnostic Front. And I sat there and I listened to it, and as a young kid, like you said, you don't know where you fit in. You don't know who's got your back. You don't know when you turn around, you're all by yourself, But then you get into this thing. It's a community. It's a music community.
Yeah, you know what? I've said this for years. Punk and hardcore gave me something to believe in when I didn't really feel there was anything in the world worth believing in, and it made me feel like I fit in somewhere when I didn't necessarily know where I fit in, or if I belonged anywhere, because I could be me. I could just be me. I could be who I was, and I didn't have to worry about who was going to pass judgment on me.
Exactly.
But that was what was the cool thing about the Rock Island Co-op is, and I kind of said this a little bit before, was I'd go in and
we had a wide range of people that
right
worked there.
And that was what was cool.
All different.
Yeah,
Greg,
you said
we
were all friends.
But that was the cool thing about it. If it wasn't for Greg, I would have never bought The Quickness by Bad Brains.
Oh,
if it wasn't for Greg, I wouldn't have bought Start Today by the Gorilla Biscuits.
We would walk by, and if Greg wasn't working, we'd keep walking.
Oh,
really?
Vanishing Point by Underdog.
We wouldn't go in if Greg wasn't working.
No. Well, but I did, because Bill Sharp opened my eyes to like the classic sounds, which there were some really cool things, and then Tony Cerna, his alternative stuff. That was where I got into, Depeche Mode's Music for the Masses and The Cure's Disintegration, New Order, that kind of stuff.
But I would go in there, and because I was buying, like I said, I was buying Suicidal Tendencies, I was buying Sex Pistols, I was buying The Clash, and those were the things that I was getting into. Mm-hmm. And he would talk to me about these things, and he would be like, "Yeah, man, The Clash is cool. Check this out. Do this. Listen to this." And that's where, a lot of the foundation And like I said, you're not that fucking cool. But I mean, but
You're exactly right. I am not
but
cool.
a lot of the
I'm a
foundation
nerd.
of the music, and the music that I play to this day, I am constantly writing music. I mean, I'm a musician at heart. I will never stop writing music until I die. But a lot of that came from the things that I got from the 14th Street or 14th Avenue Co-op.
Yep.
So I think it's safe to say we could probably do a full episode, probably a 2 or 3 parter on the Rock Island Co-op.
What would be really fun to do is bring Bill Sharp on this thing.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Bring you and Bill Sharp on here.
How plausible is it to convince him?
I think it would not be a hard thing to do.
I don't think it'd be hard to do. I think Bill would be into it.
I think we should just open up the show and just
It would be really interesting.
sit back. Well, me and you would just sit back and.
I think what you guys need to do.
Here.
I think
Right,
what you guys
right.
Here's what I think you need to do. What you need to do is you need to say, okay, we're going to have a Side Seat podcast at Kavanaugh's on this day. Anybody who wants to come in and say Johnny bullshit, come do it.
Yeah.
Because this thing is bigger than you guys.
Yeah.
You know? And it's bigger than me. It's bigger than Greg Thompson, even though everybody wants to talk about
Greg Thompson's the biggest here,
He's
man.
the fucking
If
bad
you've ever
motherfucker,
seen me
but-
naked, you'll believe me. It's way bigger than me. I got the hands of a 4-year-old and the cock of a newborn.
He doesn't know I haven't seen him naked. That's a totally different thing. But, he's a pretty cool guy. But anyway,
Yeah, man. I mean, we want to do something on a large scale with that show.
Well,
which is
the thing we were talking about is maybe doing like a side C type of, hey, there's a lot of people that are in our group that we know electronically or
That we don't know
digitally,
face
but
to
we don't
face.
know. Let's everybody get together, and as one.
Yeah, we can geek out as one.
Yeah, I mean, just appreciate good conversation. It doesn't have to be based around anything, but just
No, I mean that's the
people.
cool thing about like all of us. Like, I've met you and you from this. I've known Nez forever. I've known Greg forever, but it's just kind of fun because like we might not have anything at all else in common except for music, but we can talk for hours and hours and hours because it's just. I mean, once you find a friend in music, I mean it just doesn't stop. I mean,
it blooms into other
yeah.
things.
I mean, like.
So are you telling me you guys don't like the little Chinese Netsuke carved figurines?
I love those things.
I have no idea what you're talking about. They sound like little people, so I'm into it.
He's in on
He's like midgets.
But
You know what I mean?
They
there's
smell like
another.
small Asians. I'm down for it.
yeah.
Greg has rode my ass for
It's a
forever
personal
and a
thing,
day
though, right?
Yeah.
about me liking Jim Gillette from Nitro. Since I've been 15
No.
years old, I will always like Jim Gillette from Nitro.
No,
Always because of
Jim
that.
Gillette is terrible. Jim Gillette was like that fat kid in school that you knew that nobody liked, but you kind of liked him a little bit because he was kind of cool, but not really.
Sounds like
Jim
Kinda like
Gillette
when I was a
very
freshman.
cool.
I still remember the first time I played you Nitro.
Yeah.
And you were like,
Jesus.
oh my god, this
Michelangelo?
is amazing.
Michelangelo, he's like changing his fucking hands on guitar. Who cares about that?
Yeah,
That's
then
not
there's
that
some
cool.
guy in the corner with his fucking nuts and a pair of fucking vice grips.
I don't care,
Shattering
man. It was
glass and
something so
shit.
totally different. It was so totally different.
Was Night Out Fucking Rageous? Is that what that was? That album?
OFR. Yeah.
Oh,
They were from Boston.
so. But Greg, man,
So was Wolfsbane.
listen,
Dropkick Murphys.
this has been everything I'd imagined.
Are you
It could
impressed
be-
with what?
He did not disappoint.
No, I don't think he's really shown me shit. I don't know if you guys.
Of course, he just.
Volume
Victor
2.
promised
still
me that the
butthurt, dude.
Chippendales are going to be at his birthday party.
Yeah, I'm working on it. Trust me.
I'm not sure where you guys are coming. He hasn't shown me shit. You guys,
Wilkins is trying to
Hey,
fucking kill me.
Look, man. Before we go on to anything else, Greg, I want to ask if you're willing to come back and we can get in a co-op
Hell
episode.
yes,
We can
man.
get
I'll
in
come back
layoff
anytime
right
you
now,
want.
I see on your arm here.
No, I'm not laid off right now.
Oh, you're not? I just-
We'll talk about this off the air.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the QC hardcore scene tattoo.
Yeah, I
there.
have that shit
Yeah,
fucking
I mean-
tattooed on my arm, dude.
And
It's inked on me forever.
And that'll-
This
the
home is where the
bridge.
heart is. I can
Yeah.
remember when I fucking was a kid, I was like, I can't wait to get out of the Quad Cities.
Yeah.
Guess what?
You love it.
I left for a very short while and figured out really early on in a stay that, a big city wasn't for me.
Yeah.
You know.
Here's the thing. I moved away from the Quad Cities because of my kids and the horrible woman that I was married to for 21 years. When I came back to the Quad Cities, the best people in the fucking world are in the Quad Cities. I don't care who you are. You can say that I live in Georgia and they're better in Georgia. No, fuck you, they're not. The best people in the world are in the Quad Cities.
Yeah.
The heartland of this goddamn country. I don't give a goddamn what you say, what you think about anything else. The best people for me are in the Quad Cities. And some of the best people that I have met since I've been back in the Quad Cities are sitting at this goddamn table, and to hell with anyone else that says anything differently.
Yeah, well,
I've never left. I'm never going anywhere.
I got this shit fucking tattooed on me, and it says right on my arm. It says "Home is where the heart is."
Yeah.
You know, and I got Illinois, but I will say that I have Iowa wrapped around under the bottom of my arm where they fucking belong.
Is that the Centennial Bridge? What bridge is that?
No, that's the 74 bridge, man. That's the thing that connects.
Yes.
Very nice.
Iowa can stay there, but like I said, man,
I got the fucking Mississippi River. I have, the 74 bridge, and I have the outline of the state of Illinois and the outline of the state of Iowa.
I have to say,
and
totally
the Quad City Hardcore
great ink.
And I have the Quad City Hardcore logo marked on the two borders where, and to me, home's where the heart is. This is where I cut my fucking teeth, and people can say what they want about the Quad Cities, but, if you think about it, there's been some super fucking awesome hardcore bands and bigger punk bands that have played the Quad Cities. My very first punk show that I ever saw, a live punk show that I saw, was The Clash in 1984. Granted, it was the Scab lineup version for Cut the Crap, whatever, but it was The Clash. I can say I saw the fucking Clash. Yeah, Palmer. Palmer Alumni Auditorium, May 20th, 1984, 7 o'clock.
That's when they
There's the nerd you keep bringing up.
That Palmer Auditorium
With
played
opening act, the Rave Ups. Does that name ring a bell for you?
No.
Think of the movie Pretty in Pink. What did fucking the blonde-headed broad?
I don't remember.
Molly Ringwald.
She's right.
Every fucking thing every one of her little notebooks and everything. Watch that movie again. She has the Rave Ups written all over it.
Are you serious?
She's fucking open for them. Yeah.
That's so fucking awesome.
Right.
But I mean, that's another subject, like Palmer Auditorium and the Call, the concerts that have played there. The Blizzard of Oz played at the Palmer Auditorium. I mean,
I saw Danzig and Sacred Reich and the Genitorturers at the Call. And I'm walking through, I'm going in there before the show starts, I'm walking through the crowd, and Wiley from fucking Sacred Reich is standing there talking to some guy like Jimmy Badass, and I'm like, hold on a second. And I'm like, wait just a minute.
Well, when the Circle Jerks played here in '87 with the Necros, it was Distemper, the Necros.
Distemper, holy shit.
Yeah.
Good band.
That was a good band.
Distemper, the Necros, and the Circle Jerks. The Circle Jerks played here because the guy that was playing drums for him at the time was a 1972 or 1973 graduate of Moline High School.
Really?
Paul DeShepper, who was also a member of our
Well,
group.
there's the Shepherd, yeah.
His dad, Greg, played in a band with, God, I can't even remember the guy's name now, and I know it's right on the tip of my tongue. But Greg was a guitar player, and this guy played drums, and Paul's dad was in a band with the guy that plays drums in the Circle Jerks. I mean, fucking how awesome is that?
Yeah.
Right.
They came back here and played, he wanted to come back here and play because he found out that there was a DIY scene. Black Flags played here. The Meat Puppets have played here.
Many times.
NBC played here. Naked Ray Guns played here. Lost Cause played here. Social Distortion has played here.
Cryptic Slaughter.
No, Cryptic Slaughter never played here.
I thought they did play that.
No.
Loser.
Nope.
No?
And even like bigger bands that have played here, I mean, I didn't go to the show. I regret not going, but fuck, Nirvana played here.
Yeah.
With Mudhoney. What was it? Nirvana, Mudhoney, and Tad.
Holy
Yeah.
shit! How did I miss that fucking
Yeah,
show?
that was a Palmer, right? That was Palmer.
No,
right?
That's
that-
right. I was wasting
that
my
was
life
Palmer.
by my St. Louis
Because
with that fucking whore of a wife I had.
Yeah, no, and they played
that-
they played
was
the
that-
Mark too,
I
right?
didn't go to that show.
Yeah, it's on there.
Yeah, they played the Mark for In Utero too, I think.
You know,
With the Chili Peppers.
You know, there's been a lot of cool things that have happened here, and the thing that upsets me is that, you know, Palmer's no longer an option. The call's no longer an option, though I did read a thing in the paper not too long ago where some young guy bought the call, and he's saying that he's going to start doing shows
It was
there
purchased,
again.
huh?
Yes.
Yeah, but he bought it from the Mexican American League.
So they're having mariachi bands and shit there.
No more quinceañeras. Damn it.
Here's my thing.
Does this mean that Mexican girls can't turn 16 or 15, whatever?
Not anymore.
it is?
They're gonna stay 15 forever.
They're gonna be at the Moline Club.
They're going to be stuck at 14 forever.
I have, honest to God, I have looked into the option of buying some place for local bands to play. Clown from Slipknot did it back in the day before Slipknot hit it big. Clown, the drummer from Slipknot, bought a club specifically for Slipknot to play in. And he hornswoggled other bands when they came in there. They had to pay this ridiculous, absorbent amount of bullshit.
Great reference because he was a dwarf.
His favorite.
Hornswoggle was a dwarf.
Hornswoggle was a dwarf. I digress. That's what happened in Des Moines with Slipknot. I have, honest to God, thought about, in this area, finding some place to open so local bands could play. So this scene that is here, there are good bands here. There are good heavy metal bands that are playing in this area right now.
Helm Splitter.
Helm Splitter, free sticker.
Free sticker.
Obsidian Hammer, free sticker. Post AD, my nephew's band. If you haven't seen them, please check them out because they're bad as hell. Post AD, free sticker again. But these guys, they're getting it done.
Yep.
You know, in the local, in this scene, the Quad City scene right now, there are other bands. I saw a band that played with my nephew's band. They dressed up like fucking hobbits or something, and they looked like shit. But they still got it done. So that's the thing, you know. The scene in Quad Cities has never stopped. When I played in Dr. Mongo 432 years ago, there was still a scene. I played with Mitch in Flowers of Fear. Flowers of Fear and Dr. Mongo sold out Uncle Roscoe's twice. The scene is here. There is music here.
And it's not just metal. I mean,
It's not metal.
There's metal, there's hip hop, there's indie rock, there's bar bands, there's you know, country music. There's everything.
I mean, even
Everything that you want.
Well, it'd be like the worst thing that could happen for the country scene for the Quad Cities when Sweetwater was bulldozed.
Right.
You know, I mean,
down there in Moline.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that was their scene. Sweetwater was their scene. You know.
The Rods Talks is even trying to do that thing with the Day Trotter thing, and we were talking about that, Nez, about how there's been like random ass acts that popped in.
Really good.
Modest Yahoo.
Who was just there last week? Built
Modest
to Spill?
Yahoo was there?
Yes.
Modest Yahoo was recorded at Day Trotter session.
Yeah. There's
Here.
been some other huge,
I don't know
like,
when-
Bush recorded at Day Trotter. Like,
I don't
they've
know.
had some really good...
Here's the thing. My thing is, the problem with Roz Talks is it's like recording in Nez's bathroom. It's small. You
The
know,
upstairs was great though.
we
I liked it.
need a place like Uncle Roscoe's.
They're talking about
Uncle
Oh,
Roscoe's
oh,
Polo
venue.
Club was
Yeah,
a
yeah, venue
badass
size,
fucking
yeah.
place.
Yes.
It was a
I
huge
mean, I don't
fucking
know.
hall to play. 500 people easy in that place. You know,
I never got to
when
experience it.
when Dr. Mongo and Uncle and Flowers of Fear sold that place out, there was at least 500 people in there.
And I was probably
Doesn't sound like shit, but it was cool to me.
I was gonna say I was probably a part of 500 Seamen that was produced when that venue was open. So
it was what 3 years, right?
Yeah, but the problem is Greg
3
Thompson
years.
is still not that fucking cool.
hey,
My point is
Exactly.
that the scene in the Quad Cities is vibrant. It's as big as any scene anywhere else.
It
And
always has
I will
been.
stack it against Seattle. I will stack it against any other scene.
It
The
just
difference
needs
is
a breath.
it just needs somebody to
Well,
say,
it's been
hey, by
smothered.
the way,
Yeah.
I remember when friends of mine in the band Tripmaster Monkey got signed to Sire Records.
Yep.
Right.
You know, everybody was like, holy shit, the scene in the Quad Cities is going to blow up. What happened? It shit. It fucking shit turds, and nothing ever happened.
Well, because all the venues. I mean,
Because the only fucking venue we had was Uncle Roscoe's Polo Club.
well, here's the thing. And I think more than anything else is this the insurance liability on these halls are chasing people away.
Yeah.
You know?
It's a tough road to go.
Well, as long as we got people like Matt Wilkins and Greg Thompson,
You know, you
Jake
can.
Turner.
Well, the problem is Greg Thompson is not that fucking cool.
I'm
the thing
trying
is,
I tried to include you there.
you didn't try to
I
include
just
me.
did.
You don't.
He said your name
I
before
said
me.
I said it before you.
He did
As
that
a
on
courtesy.
purpose. He
It was
doesn't
a
care.
courtesy.
It's okay. I understand.
What I'm just trying to say
First
is
record's good. Everything else sucks.
yes. What I'm trying to say is that hopefully this thing can take off again, and then it'll.
But it's
get
shit like
people
this. It's the Sightsee
interested.
podcast.
Yes.
It's the
Quad City music.
the Quad City music
lovers,
collectors and traders and lovers,
Music
and
lovers,
haters and
collectors,
dancers and
my
rock and roll
God.
fuckers. It's all of those things. That is what is going to reignite.
It's the information superhighway of nerds.
Yes, exactly.
Pretty much, yeah.
And
That's
as long
exactly
as-
what it is.
As long as you guys are staying interactive and the listeners are staying interactive, we got plenty to talk about, plenty to learn about, and
Yeah.
it's a good thing, man. And I hear your passion. I hear everything out of your guys' voices, and it makes me excited for what this could turn into and everything it could bring along. And like I said, Greg, please come back, man, because I'm sure we can
I'll
get an
come back
episode
anytime.
of co-op. We can get an episode of the hardcore scene here.
I'm screwed. I'm never coming back.
Matt, yeah, you're not coming back because you don't think
You're too cool.
Yeah.
You're the first guest
So-
to make 3.
Yeah,
So
yeah, you are our first 3-time guest, so there you go. So,
not only 3 guests, but 3 guests in a row.
we might have to bump your name up from guest spot to recurring characters.
Character.
So, but,
I'm the Newman of the
You're like the
Sightsee
common
podcast.
cold. You
Yeah.
can't get rid of
yeah,
you.
exactly. So
I'm like herpes. I just keep coming back.
yes. So
I've
Greg,
seen the commercials. Having herpes is very, very, very enticing. I love those commercials. How it's like, oh, you have herpes? No big deal. Look, you can go play on the beach.
yeah,
You can
You
go
can ride a
down
bike.
You can go around on the parkway. It's okay.
you can hold hands with your
Just don't
lover.
kiss anybody.
So
Those
so
commercials are
Don't
so
suck any
awesome.
dick.
future episodes will include co-op, hardcore scene, midgets, I'm sure, or little people as we like to call them.
Let's be
Because
politically
you're-
correct.
yes,
They like to be called little
persons,
people.
So Greg,
And if
thanks a lot.
anybody has a connection and can get me a picture taken holding Bushwick Bill from the Ghetto Boys, there's
hit us up.
almost no limits to what I would do for you.
Hit the Quad City music lovers, collectors, and
and
traders.
Why is it that I know it and
Facebook
fucking Victor
page.
doesn't know it?
Even
a
though we have
sad-
Because it's not in
shirts right over there.
Spanish.
Yeah, it's not in Spanish. You know, Spanish switch around like the verbs and the words sometimes.
Yeah,
So-
collector
So, anyways, make sure you guys like the Sightsee podcast. Real quick, we'll pay the bills. Pool man Mark Reedy for all your above and below ground pool needs. Make sure you give Mark Reedy a call. We'll post all that stuff on the Facebook. Rolling Smoke Barbecue, great sponsors up on Kavanaugh's Hilltop. Right behind there, they had great food. They were really busy at the Retro Rally. If
Yes,
you guys
it was.
heard our last,
Mitch is super awesome.
Yeah.
Mitch and I grew up together.
oh, did you?
Yes,
So-
Mitch and I grew up like literally. I could
House to
spit
house.
on Mitch's house from my house.
There
We
you
grew
go.
up in the same neighborhood.
You guys hit each other's faces with your spit. So anyways, but thank you guys for sponsoring us. They're on the back of our brand new T-shirts, which we have available now. We will ship. We have the Sightsee podcast T-shirts. If you want to help support, make this thing bigger. We want to get some more professional things in. More production, more microphones, all that good stuff. So hit us up if you're interested in a T-shirt. We will ship to Minneapolis or wherever it was.
Yeah, that guy.
Deke, we'll
Yeah,
ship you up to Minneapolis.
So $15 just for you guys.
Little
And before we go, Greg, I just kind of want to throw a couple names at you and see what you can.
You know what I'm gonna say?
I know
First
what
record's
you-
great.
How
Rest
about
record's
albums?
Everything else
sucks.
sucks.
How about albums? That's
Well, I mean,
what
that would have
Okay.
to be your
Okay.
cue there. But I just came up with a random list just while we were
Okay,
talking.
I'll play.
All right, Morrissey.
Dude,
See,
I
that's why I
love the
wanted
Smiths,
Yeah.
but that fucking guy just needs to put a gun in his mouth and pull the
oh
trigger.
my God.
He's got cancer.
does.
No,
Nobody can
Morrissey,
be that-
you have
nobody
fucking AIDS.
Nobody can be
Admit
that
it, you have
depressed.
AIDS, Morrissey. All right, next.
Agent Orange.
Agent Orange, super awesome band, skatecore all the way.
Yeah, all right. Hatebreed.
Played with them in '95.
Oh, Hatebreed.
Hatebreed.
I love Hatebreed.
It was Hatebreed, Turmoil, Turmoil from Philadelphia, Damnation AD from Washington D.C., and Extinction from Chicago. We played the Black Gigi's Loft, It was super fucking awesome.
All right.
And since that show, I've seen Hatebreed numerous times and talked to Jamie numerous times, and the guys always remembered me.
Awesome, man. Awesome. Two more. Danzig. Say it.
Okay.
Yes, you can say it.
Okay, I'll say it. Danzig himself as a person is a piece of shit. The Misfits are awesome. Sam Haines sucks. The first Danzig record itself is good because of Chuck Biscuits, and it's a great bluesy rock record. Everything else from there on is shit.
Awesome first record. All right.
Danzig 2 was good.
One more.
Liar.
One last
Shut up.
one. Kerry King.
Is a total fucking piece of shit. The guy's a scumbag. He acts like a pretentious. The only famous person that I've ever met in my life that was a complete piece of shit, and that's between athletes, musicians, like television personalities, movie personalities, directors. Only guy I've ever met, any famous person, male or female, that I've ever met that was a fucking dick is Kerry King. So fuck that guy. Fuck the Raiders. And he didn't even have anything to be mad about when I met him because he had hair.
There you go.
He did have steps cut in his beard. Yay!
All right. Well, every bit of as awesome as I could have imagined. Greg Thompson, thank you for
Not that
joining
fucking
us.
cool.
Matt Wilkins,
Not that
thank
fucking
you
cool.
for joining us.
Thank you again, sir.
Appreciate it.
Three
Jake-
episodes in a row.
Jake Quake,
3 for 3.
Yeah.
Eric Nesbitt, Victor Martinez Jr. Make sure you guys follow all that good stuff on Facebook, YouTube, all that good stuff. So I think we're wrapped up. So you guys have a good night. Any wise words?
Just like Sky Edwards once said, quit chasing shadows, just enjoy the ride.
There you go. See you later, guys.